Hey folks, I am Becky with Enduring Finances. Welcome to my channel. Today we are taking a look back on all of the goals that I set for myself as far as individual, my stock portfolio, and my house for the past year of 2024. And then we're going to look at the goals that I'm setting for myself for this next year, 2025, between my house, my portfolio, and my new rental house. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into taking a look at a broad overview of the goals that I have long term. And these are not for 2024, these are just kind of like lifetime goals that I have right now. The first one of those is going to be to pay off the mortgage of what was my primary home but is now my rental house. I want to pay that off. Eventually I want to pay off the mortgage of the house that I'm living in now, but that is not mine. I want to become 100% debt free. Right now, the only debt that I have is my mortgage. That's going to change when I get married because I'll incur my fiance's debt along with mine as we merge our finances. But that is going to be a long-term goal forever, is to maintain as little amount of debt possible. The mortgage is pretty low as far as interest rates, so I'm not too worried about it. A third one is going to be earning $2,000 a month on average in dividend income from my self-managed stock portfolio. I've been managing this for quite a few years now and have been doing monthly updates. If you'd like to check those out, feel free to. But that is kind of like my big long-term goal, is to earn about $2,000 a month in dividend income from that. And then this year I completed one of these goals. That was to complete a triathlon, but I also want to complete a winter triathlon, which is not very well known. There's one in Idaho, but essentially it's cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, and then fat biking. So it's a little bit different, but that's on my long-term bucket list. We already knocked off the triathlon this July, where I kicked its butt and was the last person to come in, but I did it. Another lofty goal is to visit every single national park in the United States. I have been to quite a few of them. I went to one this year, but I've already been there multiple times. It's one of my favorites. And then my last big overall goal is being in a position where I can give back to others, whether that's financially or with my time or with my knowledge and just patience, I guess. But those are my long-term, very long-term general goals. As far as my long-term stock portfolio goals, we've already talked about the earning $2,000 a month in dividends on average. But in order to do that with my portfolio breakdown, I would need to have about $600,000 in this portfolio. And it would be needing to return about 4% annually in dividend yield. That's not market value, but dividend yield. And if I did that, it would be about $2,000 a month, or about $65.75 a day in dividend income on average. So that's my long-term stock portfolio, like investing strategy for this, just because I really enjoy it. And then as far as long-term stuff with the rental house, it is going to be AC unit, remove the third front door, which has been on my list for a couple years now. Installing a sprinkler system that works. I have irrigation rights, so hopefully that'll run separate from my water. I want to pave the driveway because it becomes this massive lake anytime it rains really hard. I want to turn the back porch, which is a very large deck, into a smaller patio that is long-term stability there. And then eventually redo the electrical wiring on the house and redo the entire addition that the previous owners did that is just not great. But those are very, very far away. We're not going to get all of those done in the next few years, but we're going to try as best we can. Let's look at the goals that I set for myself for 2024. It was a big year for me, lots of big changes, but let's go ahead and take a look-see. I think one of the things I like most about this is I set these big goals, and then I set monthly goals, and I talk about them in my budget breakdown, about how I tried to accomplish little goals that meet these big goals, that meet these even bigger goals. So hopefully you've been following along to at least my goal updates. If not, feel free to. They're with my monthly budget breakdown. It's usually the first week, full week, or second full week in the month. But without further ado, let's look at my general goals for myself for 2024 that I did or did not do. First one, completed a triathlon. I trained for quite a few months on this and knocked it somewhat out of the park. I finished. I didn't quit. It was a really close call, but it was a fantastic experience for me. I wanted to break even with my photography business, and this has been a goal that I've been trying to reach because it is a hard market right now. with the economy being down, people are not buying as many photographs as they were before, and I'm still in that early stage of trying to develop this into something that is stand-alone. We did not hit that. I feel like overall I maintained a pretty healthy work-life balance. I was working this spring as a part-time job, ended up quitting that, moving to a new city, starting school full-time, and just kind of went a plethora of random things, all the while trying to build this channel and my own business stuff. So I feel like I kind of maintained that pretty well. I visited Yellowstone National Park this spring, took some amazing photographs, was there for a few days. My brother and his family came out and visited for a night and just had a blast watching wildlife and just being blown away by how beautiful it is there. And then the thing that I did not do was rebuild my emergency fund. I cut into this a lot with transitions. And the idea was potentially to rebuild that up this year. Well, with quitting my job and transitioning to a new home and living with my fiance and all those things, it did not happen exactly the way that I wanted to. So I did some, I didn't do some others. I still feel pretty good about how I did this year, and money has always been a continual thing to build off of and improve and rebuild as we have to dip into that emergency fund occasionally. As far as my stock portfolio goals, I wanted to reach a portfolio value of $34,000. I went way beyond that. We went into $40,000 and then dipped down just below $40,000 at the end of the year. I wanted to earn $1,400 in dividend returns. I did not hit this. I was really far off the mark. We weren't even close to $1,300 on this, but I mean, you win some, you lose some. I was way over with my monthly and my daily average of what I wanted to earn from dividends. So I wanted to reach $110 monthly and $3.60 month daily. Didn't get those either, but the portfolio is way above $34,000, so check mark on the first one there. And then as far as my 2024 house projects, I thought about redoing the electrical for $4,000 about. That did not happen. I brought in an electrician. He did a little bit of work. I did some work myself. I brought in my brother who has some electrical experience, and he helped me. So we kind of limped it through to where it gets to the next stage. I took on a huge project, started it, cut out pieces of wood of my stump in the front yard, and ended up bringing it out just before the start of summer this last year. And that was a huge, almost 3-day project. I was out there for a full day and then a second day, and then it finally kind of settled down on the third day with that. But that is burned out. I just need to level that out and get it ready to put a lawn in this spring. I wanted to install an AC unit in my house. Did not happen. And I wanted to remove the third, because my house has 3 doors for some reason. I wanted to remove the third one that doesn't get used at all. And I thought I was going to do that with the renovations of the house, getting ready going towards a rental, and ended up pushing it back and pushing it back and pushing back. So that did not happen as well. But we did all right as far as goals for 2024. I am proud of myself and what I accomplished with all the big changes that went on. Let's go ahead and take a look at the goals that I've set for myself for this next year, 2025. I think one of the biggest goals that I have right now at the first half of the year is to lose weight. My fiance and I are getting married in early June. We both want to lose a pretty substantial amount of weight before the wedding, and we have not done so well this fall getting into that groove, but we are hitting the start of the year very strong with that. We're doing essentially almost a completely no added sugar January. We're still eating natural sugars and fruits, and we're not cutting out breads and stuff, so like limited amount, but we're not eating any sweets or lickies and chewies besides our wedding cake tasting. Everything else is off limits in January. My goal is to lose 25 pounds before my wedding date, so I have about 6 months to do so. I think it's very doable to do that. It's a little over a pound a week, a little over 4 pounds a month, so I think I can do that. I want to break even with my rental property. This last year, 2024, I spent a lot of money of my personal savings and not building up my emergency fund into getting this rental house up and running and redoing things and painting and all the things. And so we are down money in it, but I want to break even this year. It's booked out for almost the first 2 to 3 months already with money, with an excess amount of money versus what I owe on the property and utilities and everything. So we're going into it with a good start. So I'm hoping to break even with the real estate property. I want to continue maintaining a healthy work-life balance. This is going to be a little challenging this year. We've got some big changes coming on. I'm potentially going to work full-time. Right now it's looking at least part-time, potentially full-time, depending on what the job market kind of gives me, while going to school for this first semester while doing all of this stuff. So work-life balance is going to be pretty difficult to maintain, but I'm going to try my best to do that and be there for my family and everything. I want to transition, well, I shouldn't say transition, I want to add on selling physical products for my photography business. Everything that I've sold has been online or word of mouth. I haven't gotten it listed in any physical place. I haven't done any physical sales at any art shows or anything like that. It's all been online. And I was going to try this last year to dive into that, and then I met Jessica and my life just went woo, and I'm very happy with that. But I want to come back to it and go, okay, I still want to try and expand in this avenue. I think there's room for me to grow as far as selling physical prints in person to people. And then I want to build up a 6-month emergency fund for the rental property. This is going to be hard because we have to break even first before we can save and build. And I want to do a lot of house projects on it. So is this likely going to happen? I don't know. Probably not. But I'm setting a very lofty goal that I want to shoot for. Even if it doesn't happen this year, it will happen. As far as stock portfolio goals for myself, I trying to estimate where the market's going to go. It could go a lot higher, it could go down, who knows realistically. So I set a goal of reaching a portfolio value of $43,750. I'm just below $40,000 right now, so honestly it's about $4,000 gain. I want to earn $1,400 in dividends total for the entire year. I took last year's, added it, kept it the same, going for $1,400 in dividend return this year. I increased the monthly dividend average that I want to reach to $113, so $3 increase from last year that we didn't hit, and then 2 cents higher on the daily average dividend yield of $3.62 a day in just passive dividend income from this portfolio. You can follow along as I take you month by month through the increases and decreases in these and how I'm doing at accomplishing these goals in my portfolio breakdown. I will link that up above so you can get to that. And then finally, my 2025 house projects. We kind of touched on these a little bit already, but big one is getting an AC unit in. It's going to be very, very hot. If I have tenants or short-term renters staying in the house, they're going to need AC to stay cool, so that needs to be a really big priority, and I'm estimating about $5,000 for that. I want to install a sprinkler system. I would rather have them cool than have the grass green, so that's going to be ranked below that AC unit, but it's something that I want to do. When I first talked to a company about coming in and installing sprinklers for me, they estimated $10,000 to do my entire property. But they estimated about $1,000 to hook up to the main setup to get everything functioning and then building off of that. So my plan is to have $1,000 put of someone connecting, getting it initially set up, and then spending about $1,000 and a lot of physical manual labor installing the rest of the sprinkler system through the front and through the back. So even if I don't get everything done, we're going to get something hopefully started with this. And then I need to pave the driveway, and this is going to be pushed towards the end of the year. I don't have money to do it right now, which is when it really needs it in the wet season. But my driveway there just becomes a flooded mess, and I've had already a tenant from Airbnb message me and say, hey, this is something that you really need to work on in the next year. So that's a big thing that I also want to work towards. And then, of course, bringing up the rear is removing that third front door, taking out the old AC unit, fixing up the wall and the exterior and the siding and all of that. But all of those are really, big amounts of money and chunks of change, and I don't know. We're gonna have to see how the rental does this year, how much money I save to have enough money to maintain it and to be safe and less risky and be able to cover the mortgage and everything else. But I mean, honestly, 2024 was a big transitional year. 2025, I'm getting married. We have to save for the wedding and potentially a honeymoon and new job and continue with school, and all of these things are going to impact my ability to do it because you can't do it all. So I have to find that balance between everything, and that's going to be really, really difficult. But I'm also very excited to see how this kind of all plays out together. I feel like I've taken a huge step from last year to this year just in my personal life with relationship to getting married to essentially business, starting a rental company business and renting out my old property to individuals. That is huge. So it's very exciting, and hopefully you guys also kind of knocked out your goals for 2024. I did so-so on it. Hopefully you guys did really good on it, and I'd be excited to hear what goals you have set for yourself for this upcoming year, or if you're doing anything where you're giving up something for January like my fiance and I are doing. But I'm going to wrap it up here, folks, and I will see you next time. Bye!